you go bankrupt. And there's a penalty for bankruptcy. Your credit sucks. You're very difficult to get a loan. Very, very difficult for people to trust you again. You have to earn that trust back. And even then, it's always going to be a stain in your record.
It's absolutely, he needs money.
You think he's going
Once
broke?
again, come on. Fighters like that always go broke.
Yeah, he's stupid. He's an idiot. He loves the fame and he loves the money. So ultimately, if you're just that money hungry and that fame hungry, you're going to just do what...
Joe Rogan recently delivered strong criticism toward Jake Paul, stating that the ongoing lawsuits and repeated accusations of staged fights have left a lasting mark on his boxing career. According to Rogan and other critics, Jake's impressive-looking record now feels empty to many fans, built more on carefully chosen opponents and promotional hype than on true boxing credibility. Even if the legal issues eventually disappear, the damage to public perception remains. In combat sports, trust is everything. Once fans begin to question authenticity, wins lose their meaning, and records stop representing greatness. Instead of becoming part of a legacy, they fade into footnotes. Rogan emphasized that there is a long-term cost to this kind of controversy, and no amount of money can outweigh it. He repeated that it simply isn't worth it. The controversy intensified after the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight, where accusations of a fake or controlled bout spread rapidly online. Fans pointed out unusual moments during the match, questioning how Jake managed to last longer against Joshua than Francis Ngannou did, despite Ngannou's size, power, and experience. What was promoted as a massive showdown between a social media personality and a former unified heavyweight champion quickly turned into a breeding ground for speculation. Leaked training clips, odd betting patterns, and outspoken analysts all fueled the belief that the event leaned more toward entertainment than true competition.
From Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, what have we got here?
As I look at it, for the fans, it put boxing still on the map because it keeps boxing relevant. Having exhibition fights like this, different celebrities and different things like that. I look at it as a fun thing for fans and stuff like that. I don't really take it seriously, because, we in the business of boxing. That right there is just, exhibition stuff. But I'm hearing they say it's a real fight. But yeah, it's a real fight because both guys are getting in a fight. I'm still the one that be thinking certain things are scripted as well too. So, but we'll see. I always say may the best man win, and main thing about it, may those guys go in there and have a hell of a lot.
Many boxing commentators openly criticized the matchup, calling it unrealistic and unfair due to the massive gap in experience, size, and background between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. Some described the event as more of a show than a legitimate sporting contest. Paul, a YouTuber turned boxer with a 12-1 record, stepping into the ring with a former two-time world heavyweight champion who has spent years facing elite opponents, struck many as unbelievable. Several analysts labeled the fight as one-sided, suggesting Paul was chosen primarily for financial gain rather than as a serious challenger. This belief only strengthened the argument that the event was designed for spectacle, not competition.
Fake Paul, I call him, against Anthony Joshua. Massive unit, two-time world champ, still got a big punch. I think he's mentally fragile at world level if he goes against the big guns because of the knockout, especially the Dubois knockout when he got fucking splattered. You know what I mean? In round 5, and he got hurt early on, and then he got done. And he's not been in the ring for 13 months.
Yeah.
But can you see a world in which Jake Paul is competitive in this fight?
No.
No. How do you see the fight going if AJ takes it serious?
Simon Jordan added more controversy by claiming that Anthony Joshua had the ability to knock Jake Paul out whenever he wanted, but chose not to. Jordan suggested that the fight was intentionally extended to meet Netflix's expectations rather than boxing standards. According to him, Joshua's strength, experience, and timing were so far above Paul's level that ending the fight early would have undercut the drama needed for streaming success. Instead, the bout allegedly required multiple rounds, tension, and suspense to justify its placement on such a massive platform. Although Jordan provided no concrete evidence, his comments echoed what many fans already suspect. When major money and streaming services are involved, entertainment can quietly replace genuine competition, leaving viewers unsure how real the fight truly was.
Paul posted on Twitter after the fight, jaw broken, heart and balls intact. That's a good thing. Time to rest, recover, and return to cruiserweight. I mean, he's coming out of it as if, well, yeah, I got battered in the end, but boy.
That's what he will do. I mean, it depends what you think this was. I mean, I never felt it was anything other than entertainment. I'm not surprised that Anthony Joshua could have knocked Jake Paul out anytime he wanted to. He didn't want to.
So why didn't he?
Because, well, when you're on a platform like Netflix that turns one-part episodes into a 6-part series, why would you think that part of their entertainment model is to have a 30-second fight? Why? Because you watch a Netflix series, you can watch it and you can go, well, I get the gist of it. Why have you got to turn it into 10 episodes? Because I'm dying with boredom after episode.
Are you telling me that Netflix probably emphasised, listen, guys, take this as long as you can?
Anthony Joshua didn't step, irrespective. I sat to all these guys, whether it be Spencer or Paul Smith, talking about the fact that Jake Paul couldn't.
Ryan Garcia weighed in on social media with a blunt response that quickly caught attention throughout the boxing community. While he acknowledged Jake Paul's effort, Garcia made a sharp comparison involving Gervonta Davis. In his post, Garcia stated, "I think Gervonta would have done him worse," suggesting Davis would have inflicted far more damage or ended the fight much earlier than Joshua did. Many experts agreed with Garcia's take, arguing that this matchup did not reflect elite-level boxing. Even after the fight concluded, criticism continued, with some observers insisting that the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight should never have been sanctioned in the first place.
Play to Jake Paul. He has a lot of guts, and the fact that he wasn't carried out of this fight on a stretcher, certainly I guess you can say is a positive. But what did I think about this? What did I think about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? Look, it felt like Anthony Joshua carried him. It felt like Jake Paul brought in as much of a negative anti-style as possible, circling away, constantly holding Joshua, constantly falling to the ground. Again, while you're certainly going to give respect for the YouTube star turned fighter for having the guts to put on this type of show and to stand in there for as long as he did until a clean right hand in the corner when Paul was absolutely exhausted, dropped him and ended the fight. This is not elite boxing. And we knew that coming in, but if these fights are going to be sanctioned as official fights like the Mike Tyson.
Adding to the growing concerns, Oscar De La Hoya spoke about Jake Paul's earlier fight with Mike Tyson, suggesting that bout was also staged. De La Hoya claimed that Paul paid Tyson to secure a victory on his record. He pointed out that many analysts noticed Tyson holding back and not fighting with the intensity expected in a real professional contest. De La Hoya stressed that this situation did not appear to be a one-time issue, but rather part of a larger pattern involving controlled outcomes in Jake Paul's fights.
This fight was. I do believe it was scripted. What? And I believe that Tyson was certainly held back. What? Look, I'm a fighter and I can see it. It goes on the record what? And it was sanctioned. What? So Jake Paul paid to get the W on his record?
Bruh.
For what? For your own personal satisfaction?
Bruh.
I keep telling you, if you want to be a real fighter, what? Like you say you want to be, what?
Although Mike Tyson has denied any claims that the fight was scripted, his performance left many fans underwhelmed. Some questioned whether the bout should even count toward his official record. For a fighter of Tyson's reputation, the lack of aggression and urgency was impossible to ignore. This only deepened doubts about the fight's authenticity and left a lingering cloud over its legitimacy.
Recently broke some news about how he spoke to one of the Paul brothers and that they had an agreement that no one was supposed to get severely injured and that the fight had to last at least through the 6th round. As I was watching the fight, I'm like, damn, it looked like Mike came out a little hot, and I saw him do this one thing where he kept biting his gloves. I know there was a big age discrepancy here, right? Jake Paul being 27, Mike Tyson being 58, of course. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, is he biting onto his glove to hold back? Because it looked like he had something there. Even some of the jabs Mike threw, I'm like, he stopped his punch. I'm not trying to be conspiracy theorist here, but thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't know if Mike completely exerted himself or he just got really tired.
I don't know about it being rigged or not, but I do feel bad for people who really are invested in the sport.
You want to know why I also think it might be a bit rigged? When the fight ended, Jake Paul kept calling out other fighters and he kept referencing, you guys need me, you guys need me. And I'm realizing he's meaning his money. So if boxers and people in the industry know that, hey, if we go get with Jake Paul, we'll make X.
During the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight, critics also pointed to unusual rules that appeared to benefit Jake. One reported clause allegedly imposed a financial penalty on Tyson if he knocked Paul out too early. This revelation raised serious questions about whether the fight's outcome was influenced more by contractual conditions than by genuine competition and fighting spirit.
Y'all already know I'm mad about this fight. I really wasn't even going to talk about it because I already felt like it was a setup. But when Trick Daddy Dollars posted this on Instagram, it really just confirmed and solidified everything. So, Trick Daddy Dollars posted this on Instagram, and I'm going to read it to social media. So, it says the rules for the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight are designed to favor Jake Paul. These include: the rules are extremely favorable to Jake Paul. The contract will incentivize Mike Tyson to lose and give Jake Paul an opportunity to choose himself as a winner. The first stipulation in the contract will punish Tyson for knocking out Jake because he is paid on a sliding scale per round. If Tyson knocks Jake out in the first round, he would receive no money. If he knocks him out in the second round, he would only make a small amount of cash. For Tyson to make the most money, he needs to survive all 8 rounds, which means avoiding knocking Jake Paul out. If the fight goes to a split decision, it favors Jake Paul because the judges have to be approved by Jake Paul. I'm gonna let y'all read that. I knew it was a setup. Because you know what? Mike Tyson had a lot of open air opportunity to smash Jake Paul.
David Hay offered another perspective, suggesting that Jake Paul may be underestimating what it truly means to face an elite-level boxer. Hay noted that Paul could be relying on past experiences with fights that were allegedly controlled, leading him to believe he could handle Anthony Joshua with ease. However, Joshua has reportedly rejected any form of scripted arrangement and insists on a legitimate contest. Hay explained that this creates a serious problem for Paul, as he is now facing a real, highly skilled opponent who will not hold back for money or publicity.
With Jake Paul with the same mindset. After seeing him fight on a beat on points, a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, my opinion is no. I think he feels zero fear in this fight. He's in a unique situation where he's going into a boxing ring with someone he doesn't believe deserves to be there. So is he going to be paying the price in training? Is he going to be getting those early nights? Is he going to be pushing himself in sparring to get the very best out of himself, like he did for the Ngannou fight? Unknown. I don't know. I don't think he will. I don't think he'll want to risk having any hard sparring just in case he gets injured. Because if he gets injured, he misses this $75 million payday against someone he doesn't believe will be good enough to be a legitimate sparring partner for him. You know what I mean? So it's a very unusual situation, very, very unusual. And, you know, obviously all the advantages are in Anthony Joshua's favor, except this one, except the mindset factor. Jake Paul has nothing to lose. He's got everything to gain. Him reaching round 3, round 4 is a win, in my opinion, and in many people's opinion. If Anthony Joshua doesn't detonate his right hand or a jab off of Jake Paul in the first 30-second minute and put him in problems, you know, some people will feel that he's underachieved or he let boxing down. You know, people don't consider Jake Paul a real boxer because he's got such a big profile on social media and he's got that background that he's come from. But
Jake Paul has committed himself to boxing for the last 5-6 years, but critics remain unconvinced. Chael Sonnen delivered one of the most direct evaluations of Paul's abilities, offering no soft language. Sonnen stated that when comparing Jake Paul to Anthony Joshua, There is simply no comparison at all. Despite the steady stream of training videos online, Sonnen believes Jake still looks more like a learner than a true contender. He argued that the footage actually highlights Paul's lack of experience, showing someone still mastering basic skills rather than preparing for a seasoned former heavyweight champion. According to Sonnen, the difference in power, technique, and ring awareness is obvious, making it clear that Jake is nowhere near ready to compete at Joshua's level. Watch Jake.
Doesn't count. It's like, well, it kind of does count. If I have you working out on the mitts from a year ago, and I have a new tape today, and I can juxtapose those, I actually can see some timing. I actually can see some speed. I actually can see some footwork. I can see some power, and I can compare it. Now, Jake is in a wildly difficult spot. Boxing is unlike, by example, track and field. Track and field is all about personal records. You do not need to be faster than the guy standing next to you, right? Now you can win and you can get trophies on that, but it's not actually your goal that your coach is working on you with. You just today want to be faster, throw further, jump higher than a previous version of yourself. Boxing doesn't work that way. It is straight. It doesn't matter how good you are. It is 100% comparative to how good is this guy. I understand that. But as human beings, we have to start somewhere. And I think there are many things that are going to be wins for Jake. I do not subscribe to the idea. Now he does. He will not agree with me, but an older version of himself, as he looks back, will see that Chael makes a very fair point. There's a number of things that are going to be wins or not for Jake. Now, Joshua's got one. Crush that man, get your hand raised. That's it. Well, I don't see it like that for Jake. I don't see it like that. And I know you guys don't either. I know you don't, because so many people that are predicting this fight won't even happen. Or that are predicting if this fight happens, these guys are going to be nice to each other. What does this word exhibition mean? Right? There's all these things where you're trying to take away, and you're not necessarily wrong. If Jake shows up for this fight.
Despite all the controversy surrounding the event, people are still placing real money on the fight. The betting activity itself has become part of the ongoing debate around the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua matchup. Fans, casual bettors, and even well-known personalities have been wagering heavily, adding more tension to the question of whether this was a real sporting contest or simply a spectacle. However, after Jake Paul was knocked out by Anthony Joshua, Joe Rogan surprised many by giving credit where he felt it was deserved. Rogan said it was genuinely impressive that Jake survived 6 full rounds with a proven heavyweight powerhouse like Joshua. He reminded critics of the massive difference in experience, strength, and ring intelligence between a YouTuber turned boxer and a former world champion. While the knockout outcome was expected, Rogan emphasized that lasting that long showed toughness, discipline, and solid conditioning, even though it did not close the skill gap.
For someone who's been boxing for like less than a decade, he has had no real professional opponents other than Tommy Fury that were legitimate world-class boxers.
I don't even remember what happened in the Tommy
He lost a close decision, but it was a good fight. It was a good fight, though. He's a good boxer. If he wasn't a YouTuber, people would be way more impressed with him.
Yeah.
The problem is he was like a famous kid, and then no one took him seriously.
Yeah.
But
oh, and then he started too with like more spectacle-ish fights. People were like, "Oh, this is you." He fought, Nate Robinson, like a basketball player.
But the thing is, he knocked Nate Robinson
He knocked him
dead.
the fuck out.
And
yeah.
it's the way he did it that I was trying to tell people. I'm like, no. That was skillful. So like there's like boxing matches where you see two guys just slugging it out. One guy lands a punch, and yeah, he landed a good punch. What Jake did is he slid back and landed a punch.
Yeah.
It's like the athleticism along with the intelligence, the technique. I'm like, he's not even doing it that long. And he's also hyper competitive, even though he's wealthy.
Yeah.
Like you would assume that wealth would take away your drive for
But
competition.
it hasn't, yeah.
He's also nuts, right? Just
Yeah.
the fact that he's willing to fight the 2-time heavyweight champion, former Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
A guy who's gigantic in his prime, built like a Greek god.
Yeah.
And you're going to stand, and he's a one-punch killer. And you're going to stand in front of that guy. And he avoided shots till the 6th round. He just started getting tired.
Yeah, his movement in that fight was crazy.
It was very good.
Yeah.
It was very good.
He was really keeping him moving around the whole ring. And then
you can't afford to get tired. That's the thing is, like, he gets tired in a lot of his fights in the later rounds. You should really sort that out. Because if he had a much bigger gas tank, like if he was training with like some of these elite world-class strength and conditioning coaches and just worked on his cardio, he'd be beating weight.
Rogan also acknowledged Jake Paul's toughness, but issued a serious warning. He explained that absorbing heavy punches, like the one that fractured Jake's jaw in 2 places, can cause long-term damage and is not something worth repeating. Rogan stressed that the physical and mental toll of combat sports often outweighs money and fame. He urged Paul to prioritize his long-term health over chasing bigger fights. Rogan reminded him that repeated trauma comes with a cost, including possible brain imbalance and depression, and suggested that early retirement might be a smarter choice than risking permanent injury.
Boom! Breaks his jaw in 2 places. The thing is, I would hope that he recognizes is right now he's doing great and he's only, whatever he is, 28. There's a price that you pay that is not worth it. And that price is a severe brain imbalance that's going to lead you to addiction. That was real damage. The inside of your head. There's a lot of damage going on in there too. If he doesn't have your respect after that fight, that guy did great for someone who's been boxing for.
Do you think Jake Paul's fights are genuinely competitive? Or are they driven by hype and scripted elements? Share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to Boxing World